All right, sixth graders, 6.3, let's do some fractions with different denominators. And in this lesson, fractions are going to look a little bit different because the denominators are going to have different numbers. This is page 302 in your book. So what we need to do in the vocabulary is talk about least common denominator, and we have been working on something called LCM in the last chapter, least common multiple. Well, this is kind of the same thing, except we're talking about the bottom numbers of the fractions, so it's the least common multiple of the denominators. So for example, if you have two fractions, 1/4 plus 3/8, we can't add those because the denominators are not the same. So we have to find the common denominator, which in this case would be 8. You could use 16. That would be okay. You could even use 32, but the bigger the number you use, the more simplifying you will have to do in the end. So it's best to try to pick the least common denominator. But if you're stumped and you can't think of it, you could always multiply them together. And we'll talk about that more when we come up to it. So let's talk about, here are the steps that you need to write down right now. Here's our key concept for adding and subtracting fractions. The first thing you do is rewrite the fractions using the LCD. So let's take that 1/4 plus 3/8. First thing I do is I see they do not have common denominators. So I'm going to rewrite the fractions with the common denominator of 8. And 3/8 already has an 8 on the bottom, so I don't have to do anything to it. 4/8 you have to take 4 times 2, and up here 1 times 2, because whatever you do to the bottom, you do the exact same thing to the top. And we did practice these in the last chapter. Then you add or subtract the numerators. This one happens to be adding, so 2 plus 3 is 5. Write the result over the LCD, which is 8. Simplify if possible. And we can't simplify 5/8, so we are done. I like to write my fractions on top of each other like this in a horizontal or a vertical format. It just makes it easier for me to rename them. So let's do some. Kate spent 1/8 of her day playing softball and 1/12 of her day playing soccer. To answer the real world question above, which I believe the question is probably at the very, very top of the page, it says, what fraction of the day did she spend playing sports? So we have softball and soccer, so 1/8 plus 1/12. And like I said, I don't like to write them, I like to write them like this. So we need to find the LCD of 8 and 12. Now, if you can think of it, great. If you can't, remember, you use the trees. Remember how we found the LCM? This would be 2 to the third. This would be 2 times 6, 2 times 3, 2 to the second times 3. Circle the biggest of each, the biggest 2, the only 3. 8 times 3 is 24. So the LCD would be 24, and if you can do that without all this work, that's great. 8 times 3 is 24, so 1 times 3 is 3. 12 times 2 is 24, so 1 times 2 is 2. Now we have our common denominators. Now we can add. 3 plus 2 is 5, so she spends 5/24 of her day playing sports, and that is simplified as far as it can go. So they did the same thing we did, added up the fractions, and there is the answer. So find the sum of 5/8 plus 3/4. So again, I like to write them on top of each other so I can rewrite them, line everything up all nice. I need the LCD of 8 and 4. Well, that's easy, 8. This one already has an 8, so you just bring it over. 4 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11 over 8. Now that's that improper fraction, if you remember from the last lesson. So 8 goes into 11 one whole time, and if you need to write out the division for a while, try to do it in your head. And then you subtract, you have 3 left over, so it would be 1 and 3/8. So 1/3 plus 1/9, so we're just going to go 1/3 plus 1/9. Common denominator for 3 and 9 is 9. That one already has a 9 times 3 times 3. So we add. Be careful that you read the signs, and it cannot simplify. Sorry, I'm writing my work on. So let's see, 2/3 plus 1/2. What is the least common denominator for 2 and 3? I say 6. So we have to change both of these times 3. That would be 3. Times 2 times 2, that would be 4. So 4/6 plus 3/6 is 7/6, and that is an improper fraction. 6 goes into 7 one time with 1 left over. You take 6 away from 7, there'd be 1 left over, so it's 1 1/6. There we go. Good stuff. Let me erase again here. 4/5 plus 3/4. Okay, common denominator for 5 and 4 is 20. Times 5 would be 15. Times 4 is 16. And we're still adding 31 over 20. 20 goes into 31 one whole time. Take 20 away from 31 is 11 20ths. And if I lost you, this is what I'm doing. It goes in there once, which is 20. Subtract, and then you write that on, the remainder goes on the top of your fraction. Oh, there's still one down there. Let's see. Let me put it over here. 5/6 plus 7/10. Okay, right away you look at that and think 60 with 6 and 10, but there's even a smaller one that's better. How about 30? 10 times 3, 7 times 3. Times 5 would be 25. I'm getting 46 over 30. 30 goes into 46 one whole time with 16. Subtract those. And look, 16 30ths, I can still chop those in half. Let's try to divide them by 2. They're both even. That would be 8 and 15. So 1 and 8/15. So it does take a little bit of work. Notice there's a lot of steps in that, but that's what you got to do in order to get the right answer. Number 5, what if, suppose you wanted to know the fraction of Kate's day was spent in class or studying, find the fraction. Okay, so go back up to the top of the page. Studying is 1/8. In class is 3/5. So we have to add 1/8 and 3/5. I think 40 is my common denominator. And notice it really helps to know your facts when you do this. Times 5. 29 40ths. And I think 29 is prime, so I think that cannot be. There we go. There's our answer. It's kind of snuck there behind what I wrote. Alright, so let's go to example number 3, subtracting these fractions. It says, last week 2/3 of an inch of rain fell on Monday, 4/5 fell on Tuesday. How much more rain fell on Tuesday than Monday? So that's a way to say subtractions. So 4/5 minus 2/3. So again, when we're subtracting, we have to have common denominators. So for 3 and 5, that's going to be 15. Times 5, that's going to be 10. Times 3, that's going to be 12. So now be careful because we're subtracting. 12 minus 10 is 2. So 2/15 of an inch more, sorry, I just banged my microphone, fell on Tuesday than Monday. Let's see how they do it. They're getting their common denominators, subtracting. And notice that all of that that's on that page right there is what I want to see. I want to see all of that work. So write the original problem. Show me what you're changing everything to. So our guided practice, 5/6 minus 3/4. So again, I'll try to do it over here. Maybe I'll get 5/6 minus 3/4. And I think 12. I don't know if you guys see it, but 12 is the best least common. So times 3 would be 9. Times 2 would be 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. So that answer is 1/12. So 7/8, oops, minus 1/4. I thought I pushed a button on my pen. 8 and 4. The common denominator is going to be 8 times 2 times 2. That already has an 8. 7 minus 2 is 5. 5/8. 1/2 minus 4/9. 9 and 2, we're looking at 18, I think. Times 2 is 8. Times 9 times 9. 9 minus 8 is 1. 1/18. There. Ooh, wait a minute. Did I mess up? Times 2 times 9. They have the wrong answer. This is incorrect. I just checked in the book. This is the wrong thing. This is right. It does take a little bit of work. Just take your time, write out all of the stuff. Don't avoid, you have to write all of it out. I know some of you are thinking, ooh, that's not fun. We already had 6 and 10 before, remember? So 30 times 3 would be 9, times 5 would be 25. 25 minus 9 is 16. And they're both even. Remember, divisibility you can use divisibility whenever. Half of 16 is 8. Half of 30 is 15, and that's as far as we can go. 8/15. So there's our. Okay, racing. 1 lap of the speedway is 2/5 of a mile. 1 lap of speedway B is 3/4 of a mile. How much longer is 1 lap of speedway B? It's hard to say. So it's subtraction. 3/4 minus 2/5. So again, common denominators. So times 5, that's 15, times 4, that's 8. 15 minus 8 is 7, so it's 7/20 of a mile longer. There we go. So we're getting our common denominators. I want to see your common denominators. So let's check out example number 4. Says you ride an exercise bike for 3/5 of an hour and do abdominal exercises for 3/10 of an hour. Which model represents your total workout time? Well, let's find the answer. Total workout time would be 3/5 plus 3/10. So common denominator for 5 and 10 is 10. That one already has a 10. Times 2 times 2, so 9/10. So which one of these has 9 out of 10 colored in? There it is. C. So they're showing a model, but I don't worry about the models. I think make it harder. So we just got common denominators, and we found that it was C, 9/10. What if you ride your exercise for 1/3 of an hour and do abdominal exercises for 1/5 of an hour? Okay, so we'll go 1/3 plus 1/5. We got 15 times 5 would be 5/15 times 3, so I'm getting 8/15. So we would cut our picture up into 15 pieces. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and color in 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, well that one they wouldn't let me look at it. Let me see if I had it right. 8/15 is correct. So that's it. Get common denominators. Show everything. All your work. If you don't have room on your skill sheets, please put them on another sheet. And that's it. I'll see you next time.